You're now listening to PMN Tonga.
You're listening to PMN Tonga with John Pulu.
Kia mna Māori, ho eki, haamata pūle pa moika kai whanua mālo e tau mau e whiawhini. It's a little after 4 p.m. for us here in Tāmaki Makaurau. Ka koe whainga Māori e koula koe ni. We have some very special guests joining us here at the studio. We have Tau'ili'ili Alpha Maiava, a person that's no stranger to our polokalame. Mālo soifua Tau'ili'ili.
Mālo soifua, John Pulu. Kona Māori to all of our audience listening in today.
Oh, korapa, brother. Ko ia, whafkai la fionga, as well as Uluaki Kaivelata, mālo e lelei Uluaki.
Malo talawa mai sione.
Iyo, taitari fia koe, and of course your father is here, the master, Mr. Tui, who is here as well, mālo e talawa.
Mālo sione.
Ko ia, taitari fia ki mautolu. We are excited because, congratulations, you've won awards yourself, Mr. Maiava, with the work that you do, but you're going to continue this journey and this wonderful work that you're doing to revive and talanoa about some of the sounds of the past, because you're going to have a Moana Pacific Composition Fono. Let's start with that. Tell us about this Fono.
Thank you for the question and opportunity, Sione. So basically, this is a lead on from the Sounds of the Moana podcast, and to do that I must also acknowledge the matua and the knowledge holders. La fionga Yahufanga Helga Malotu, Dr. Augustino Mahina, Moana Maeva from the island of Mauke, John Kiria from Maitutaki, also Le Fetalainga Ya Leunga, Tasofara from Samoa. These are all the Mayans, and also Rita Semontafa. She was an ethnomusicologist based in Australia. And Le Tautalanga Ya Fayumu, Matthew Salapu, who most people know as Anonymous. These were the great minds that came together to put together that podcast that went on and surprised us all. And so there has to be a lead on from that, because the whole idea was to introduce our Moana Pacific composers into Sounds, Centre for New Zealand Music. Now, Sounds have never gone to the people before, but after our discussion, we said to Sounds, our people are, if you want us, you come to us. And so this workshop is divided into 3. The first half of it is an introduction to the instruments of the Moana. And for this particular fono, we're bringing out the fangufangu, the mimiha, and the tukipitu. Now, if it's sounding heavily Tongan, it doesn't mean it's a Tongan workshop. It's a Moana workshop. But as a Samoan, we've lost these things, so I've got no other choice but to count on the pedal left and right. But this is our ways of bringing it back. Then we move into talking about the stories that began the podcast. Why did we choose the 3 instruments? Well, it's basically because we looked at the whole Moana and we figured out no matter where you go up in the Manus Island of Papua, west or east, and down to Rapa Nui, you will find a conch shell in very different uses. You'll find a pate or talali, and you'll most likely find the nose flute. So those were the reasons why. And then we're opening up the opportunity to our composers. When I say Moana composers, it's those who are both Western trained and those who are like the 2 blessings that I sit blessed to be amongst, from father to son, traditional indigenous passing of knowledge. And that's going to be the workshop altogether. But we'd rather call it a fono because we don't workshop ideas, we talk about it.
Talanoa, which is really important. But this particular conference, or Talanoa, it's kicking off on the 17th of July. The 18th of July, you are in New Plymouth. And then the 19th in Dunedin. The 20th, you're in Christchurch. And then finally wrapping up for 2 events in Wellington, yeah?
Correct. So, again, this is a historical moment in the fact that this is the first composer fono to be held nationally for our peoples. And we do understand that we might turn up and only a few wanderers turn up. But see, here's the thing. You cannot build a kingdom without data. And so it was important for Sounds to acknowledge that if we are going to bring the Moana, let's inform the Moana so they can then go on and tell other composers. We're not here to compete with those who are attending music school. This is an addition to help you understand your identity. Because we have in the diaspora a lot of our youth who weren't blessed to raise with the language in their houses, but they can sing the songs of their houses, right? So music is another tool to help our heritage preservation in land so far away from our own Hawaii. wherever that may be for you. Yeah.
Well, we're going to hear now from a special guest
please.
that you have with you. So please introduce us to the young man that is going to be part of the Polokalame.
So before I give them the opportunity to introduce themselves, I, through many, many different projects that we've done in the past, I first came across Tu'ifanua. This was part of the first ever Sounds Music Strategy, where we called all the elders and composers. And this is where I met the lovely man. And then through him, I got to meet his sons. And I got to learn a lot about the instruments in different representations. And so I thought, if we're going to do this, I have to take people that know more than me. So I am just a mouth in service of the Tongans for this particular. So
Bless you,
I'll
brother.
pass the mic on to you, sir.
Whakatapu ki o toa mawhi, whakatapu ki he hou eiki, tapu ki he kainga tonga, mo kainga kotoa, malolele, ko kuingoa, ko Uluaki Maka, Uluaki Kaivelata, o ko lele mai me whola osi, niutu tolu, ka kano o upolu, kano kupolu, mo tūtuanga kawa.
Marie. Marie. Whawhetai. It is lovely to have you on our Polokalama pia whawhiawhia mōni ko I hene. Kakano upolu. Iwi. It is a pleasure to have you on our Polokalama, and I'm a big fan of your father, of course, with the work that he's done over the years. So, Tui, it's always a pleasure to have you on our Polokalama. Ka koe whiawhini e Uluaki, it is awesome. You're a young person, tō taha tō utupu koe, kei tala vau, ka uku ke puke koe mea ngā ue me he kōhiri o ke hanga toi whakamo ui mai. Ki whamatala mai, talk to us about your journey with the fangufangu. How did that come about?
So for me, my journey with the fangufangu, and it's pure form. It's my father. If it wasn't for him, growing up in a household where it was bold, where I was encouraged to engage in my these ancient Tongan musical instruments that are now alive and well. So all credit to my dad for that. I'm so grateful. Being a young person, as you mentioned, not many of us have the opportunity to be in these kind of surroundings. So when I was put in that position, I just grabbed hold on to it and tried to preserve it and live it to the best of my ability.
Well, you're not only, I guess, representing, but you're bringing it back.
Definitely.
I did film your father doing an exhibition in Wellington with the work of the fangufangu and Mimiha. But I think this is a sound that not many people know, that Tongans as well as Samoan, just off air we were talking about this, Tau'ili'ili, that there's also the nose flute in Samoa. So I can't wait for you to share this sound. So over to you, if you don't mind.
Just before he gets to play, one of the most significant while we're working together is me and Tui always talk about, so what did our forefathers left us for the last 200 years? When we arrived 200 years later, we landed with wakas missing a few pedals. Now we have to go find the colonizers' words to relearn our ways. So we got together and talk about, what are we going to leave for the next 200? And when I come across the fact that this is a young person at his age, people are TikToking, listening to top 40 music, and to find someone that's very deep, 10 years into it, I thought this is what we're going to leave behind. We're going to make sure that the Va'a is going to arrive 200 years from today a lot more together than the one we inherited. So I just thought I'll insert that in there. And over to you, sir.
I've seen a technique that I've never seen before, the way you make the sound.
Another thing just to add in,
Go,
1777. Captain Cook took the last mimiha of Tonga.
Wow.
And John Webber, was this his botanist or he was one of the guys on the boat? The artist. The only record he left behind for Tongans was he drew each the 5, right? I'm talking for him today because you'll talk in the workshop. Tu'ihia managed to rebuild and remake the 5 from the pictures.
Wow.
If you come on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, you will get for the first time in a very long time, get to see the last mimiha that were taken by Captain Cook in the body.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow, thank you for that koloa, thank you for that gift. Whakawhetai māloa pito Tau'ili'ili as well as Grandmaster Tu'i as well as Uluaki. So lovely to hear the fangufangu played in that way. That was special, and thank you so much for gracing us with your presence this afternoon. Just quickly, Tau'ili'ili, where can people find out more details so they can come along to the...
So they can go onto the Sounds Facebook, which is called Sound Centre for New Zealand Music, and there are events there right throughout the whole country. We didn't expect this many people to show interest, but it's always good because it shows that we are arriving at a time when our people are coming after authenticity and our musics, because this lasts longer than a TikTok video. This is forever. So that's where they can find it, and they can RSVP through Moana Pacific at sounds.org.nz. That is sounds with a Z.
Fantastic. Malo Alpito, that's Malo with an M there. But it is lovely to have you on Aupolo Kalama. God bless you and thank you for bringing that beautiful sound to Aupolo Kalama this afternoon. Ofalahia tu kia motoro.
Go Basni Rava.
You need to come back, mate. We missed that voice. You can listen to that interview again. Just go onto our PM in Tonga Facebook page. But for now, here's a different fangufangu. Here's fangufangu mana.